In the Deep End, Module 7. Intro. Unlike many subjects, Philosophy 101 and 102 lack a rigid set of core requirements. This means that, unfortunately, there is very little that narrows down the subject material you will have to cover. As a result, a lot of the student assignments, topics, and readings will be completely new to you as a tutor. This can range from everything to not understanding the subject material to simply not understanding what a given instructor requires for the successful completion of the assignment or course. In this situation, then, what do you do? Step 1. Don't panic. This is both normal and expected with such a diverse course. Frequently, when people are faced with problems of this nature, they will begin to get vague, become distracted, and stray off topic. Panicking causes a number of immediate problems. 1. Wasting time, because during that time, nothing productive is being done. 2. Shakes the student's confidence, not because you're expected to know everything, but because they expect you will at least be able to help and make a positive contribution. And 3. It shakes your own confidence, because you will be less sure of your ability to help and less direct with your approach. Step 2. Starting the session. Have the student gather as many materials as possible for the assignment. These can include 1. Opening up their modules in Canvas, especially for an online course. 2. Assignment sheets and study materials. 3. Readings and/or textbooks. 4. Previous drafts for essays, often including valuable instructor feedback. 5. Any notes they have from class. This can buy you valuable time when you are getting prepared, as it will take the students at least 5 minutes to source all of the above. During that time, you will want to refresh any knowledge of this topic that you might previously have had. If you have never covered this topic before, now is the time to find out. Step 3. Get the student prepared. A lot of the time, the student will not have looked at this since it was assigned, if even that. Have them read through the instructions again, ideally aloud. This will let you hear the instructions and pick up on any learning difficulties while you conduct your research in Step 4. Ask them if they understand what they are being asked to do. 1. Find out any problem areas: vocab, reading comprehension, ESL difficulties, class absence, lack of clear notes, etc. 2. Find out if they have done anything like this before, not just the topic, but also if they have written essays before, done similar work in class, etc. And 3. Find out if they have already started working on it. Any work they have done, no matter how basic, can often be a time saver. Step 4. Do your research. For topics you don't know, you probably have about 5 to 10 minutes max to start learning. Start this while the student works through Step 3. Focus on the basics. So long as you get the general gist of the topic at first, you can always start picking up the details later in the session. Google is your friend. Most subjects have convenient summaries online if you only know where to look. For example, 1. Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy. 2. The Internet Encyclopedia of Philosophy, or IEP. 3. Other links, such as Wiki or anything you find via Google. And 4. The helpful links module of this training. Try to have at least 2 to 3 tabs open with this material. This will not only give you a broader picture, but it also gives you explanations on hand in case you need a different way of conveying a complex topic to the student. Step 5. Get started. It is better to spend 15 minutes for the both of you getting prepared and having 40 minutes of productive work than 5 minutes getting prepared and 50 minutes of wasting time. Start small. If both or either of you is still struggling with the material, focus on what you do know rather than what you don't. For example, even with no knowledge of the topic, most students should at least be capable of 1. Annotating their reading. 2. Drafting or revising notes. 3. Looking up words they don't understand. 4. Asking questions. And 5. Going over anything relevant that they've already done. Step 6. A lesson in humility. As tutors at CSN, It is a constant burden to have students too proud to admit what they don't know in a given subject. This makes it very difficult to address key problem areas and can actually mean revisiting previously covered parts of the session when you have to go back and explain what was meant at the time. So too should you be able to admit your own limitations as a tutor. Most people are very reluctant to do this for fear of seeming incompetent or because they think it damages their control over the session. Step 7. A collaborative effort. But which do you think is better? 1. Not knowing something initially, finding out, and then revising it later. Education in a nutshell. Or 2. Pretending to know something, making mistakes, and maybe having to apologize later for being misleading. The kind of person who struggles to admit what they don't know is often also the kind of person who struggles to apologize for being wrong later. Hence, it is better to come clean about your own gaps in knowledge and work to fill them in as quickly as possible. Approach the material as though you are learning this together and make it a collaborative effort. Step 8. Phrasing. Phrasing is everything. There's no need to say things like, "I have no idea what I'm doing," or "this makes no sense at all." While this may in fact be true, again, remember that the important point is not to panic. The above phrases are defeatist and despairing. Instead, say something much more diplomatic, like, "I haven't seen this method before," or "I'm not familiar with this particular reading." This conveys the truth, but without conveying that the situation is hopeless. However, we must always add a caveat, like, "Let's work this out, This will make it clear to the student that even if you don't know, you're willing to find out. That's what learning is about, after all. Step 9. Reading. For any assignments with a reading, take the next 15 to 20 minutes to focus on the student's understanding and their ability to explain things. Obviously, it is very difficult to narrow down exactly what you should be doing during this time, as it depends greatly on the nature of the assignment and the student's grasp of the material. But in general, you'll want to be assessing how well the student knows the current material and begin to work with them to explain or address any gaps in their knowledge. Remember, during this time, you will want to read and expand your own knowledge of the material itself, particularly the details, as noted earlier. Step 10. Explanation. When explanations are required, either 1. Explain the material yourself, if you can, or 2. Explain it via any materials you find online, if you can't explain it yourself, or if you want to try a different explanation to help their understanding. Sometimes a given method won't work for you or the student, so don't be afraid to switch it up. Use pictures, diagrams, or even drawings on the whiteboard to help explore a topic. Pull examples from their life or experience where possible, as it will help them relate to the material. Step 11. Taking notes. During this time, you might want the student to start taking notes for anything they don't know, including 1. Vocab and any complicated terms, 2. Memorable or likable examples, and 3. Explanations to help them understand. It's often best to get a good look at the notes the student is taking. First of all, this helps you ensure their accuracy and check for mistakes throughout the session. Secondly, this also ensures that you can add to them as needed and even learn from them if you are personally struggling with the topic. And of course, finally, you need to see that they are paying attention. Step 12. Organizing more sessions. Frequently, with complex topics like this, you both have to have realistic expectations about how much you can get done. If both of you are having to spend a considerable amount of time simply grasping and going over the material, it might be worth booking additional tutoring sessions to continue where you left off and work on the actual assignment. If there isn't time to book further sessions, such as an assignment being due soon or limited student and tutor availability, try to prepare them as much as possible with the learning side of things so they can do the actual assignment on their own at home. Step 13. After the session. You may no longer be on the clock, but that doesn't mean you're necessarily done with learning this material. After all, Most of the steps in this module of the training are designed to help you with managing the subject, not the student. So, any work you do here will only make your own life easier. If applicable, try to broaden your understanding of the subject on your own time after the session. This will not only be incredibly valuable if you have further sessions with that student, but it will also help you if you encounter others working on that topic or in that course. Feel free to send the student helpful links. This is particularly useful if you think you explained something badly, or not at all, and can give them helpful resources for when they do any further work at home. Step 14. Learning from mistakes. Not everything can and will go according to plan, and frequently you will make mistakes during the session. This can include a wide range of things, from not 1. Addressing any gaps in your own knowledge, 2. Taking the right approach with the material, 3. Coming up with appropriate examples or explanations, and 4. Having the right attitude about the topic or the student. In the end, though, no mistake matters nearly as much as your ability to learn from it. You can't change the things you already did, but you can learn from them and try to do it better next time. Step 15. Moving forward. Just like the learning you are hoping to foster in your students, your own knowledge is a work in progress. The important thing to keep in mind is that even if you didn't understand the material or assignment to begin with, your work almost certainly helped the student have a better understanding of it now. So even if these things sometimes take a little work, focus on the improvement of the situation rather than hoping to outright fix the overall problem. There are a number of helpful links and discussion threads within this module for further guidance, and many of your colleagues and supervisors are more than happy to help. Step 16. Conclusion. This completes Module 7. Please feel free to revisit any slides within this module and take any notes you need. There will be a quiz to assess your knowledge of the material within this training module, so see the relevant link in Canvas. After taking the quiz, remember to check your answers and retake the assessment if needed. A score of 100% is required. See the relevant Module 7 discussion thread as needed for this topic in Canvas for any further questions or comments.